Hi, faith, hope, love. That is exactly what is quarantine helping us with. Yes, to develop some more faith, have a lot of love, and hope, which is the most important thing to keep because there's so much uncertainty around that we need to really be positive. And today, at our high tea, we're going to have some spirituality. Yes, we have Tamanna C, the psychic, with us, and let's have her right here because we have a lot. So, as I send out the request, I hope you all have your questions coming in and know all about positivity, spirituality. Hello!
When you're talking about love, I've worn a t-shirt with all hearts.
Oh, perfect. So, faith, hope, love with lots of hearts is what exactly we're talking about today.
Hearts, absolutely. So good to see you, Shweta.
Same here. How have you been? How's quarantine going?
Been going very well. Like I said, just so much of work happening and just dabbling with multiple things. I've got a chance to kind of do everything, be it in terms of writing, work, meditation. I covered everything I possibly could. Now I'm tired. I want to go back to the real world now.
We keep seeing your lovely posts and the positivity you've been spreading around that is keeping us going because sometimes just reading a particular quote uplifts you, and that's exactly what you want to read or hear at that time. So, superb posts and all that you've been putting, and please keep putting them always for all of us around here.
Thank you, thank you. And you tell me how are things with you? What have you been up to? I mean, I've been seeing your live sessions. You're doing a great job.
Thank you, yaar. I've been just making the most, like you say, one day at a time, since there is so much uncertainty around. So let's just enjoy today. Kal ho na ho.
Correct. That's absolutely true. It's just one day at a time.
So, Tamanna, I want to ask you something which a lot of people have asked me. So, what exactly do you do, and how are you different from the tarot readers and this and that? So, I'm like, एक काम करते हैं, तमन्ना से ही सीधा पूछ रहे हैं, मैं आपको काम बताऊं.
So basically, Shweta, I'm actually a psychic, and usually people have this misconception that psychics only talk to the dead, or there's something crazy, like something voodoo or something witchy going on, which is not true. When I define myself as a psychic, I have a gift which I can see beyond what normal eyes can see. So I pick up any form of energy. It could be energy of human soul. It could be energy of someone who's passed away and deceased, or it could also be an energy of an entity who's kind of stuck between the human and the astral realm. And I also have a gift where I can pick up people's karmic chart. So I connect with the Akashic Record Library and I download information, and that helps me make predictions about people's past, present, future. So with that information, I can go back into doing people's past life healing, and I can talk about why they're going through what they're going through right in this lifetime and what the future has in regards to that. And I also help them work with the ability that I have. I help them work on their root cause, their energy, their soul DNA, as to what lessons they have to learn and why have they come on earth in this lifetime to learn these lessons. So that's what I do. Now, how that is different from astrology? Astrology is primarily all about the nine planets and how it will affect your career, finance. It's all very external. It doesn't really talk about the person you're here to become. And even in terms of tarot card reading, a tarot card reader is picking up your cards. It all depends on the current state of energy that you're going through. So it may or may not be a prediction about the future, but it's definitely a prediction or a sense of your ongoing energies that you have in mind. So that's how.
So, a question that is come right now on the tarot reading. So, do the tarot cards change? Like, in the sense, like you said, it's energy right now. So, can one change those cards?
Absolutely. So, like I said, tarot is primarily an energy reading. It doesn't talk about the good, bad, ugly. So, today, if you are, I'll just give you an example. If you're in a relationship and you fear losing the person or you fear betrayal, you will pick up those cards. So when the reader is actually giving it to you, you may take it as a prediction, but it's actually also a depiction of what's going on in your mind and what you need to heal. Which versus a psychic reading is I tell you karma mein whether it's meant to be, not meant to be, and if it's meant to be, ye period mein hoga, or if it's not meant to be, ye period mein khatam hoga. So I talk about the time and your karmas with people, whether it's lifelong, whether it's temporary, how much you need to give in and how much you need to receive.
Okay, so that's how karmic healing is very different from all of this. Okay, tell me, it's a myth, and back then, so people used to be like, they used to have a confusion in psychic and psycho also. So do you face that with a lot of people, like, who will just hear psychic and they're like, अच्छा तू psycho है, तू वो सब बताती है. Have you come across random people like this also?
All the time, Shweta. So I started my career when I was like a 24-year-old girl, and back then no one had heard this term psychic. Like internationally, of course, I didn't really have to introduce myself, but in India especially, people, oh, ये क्या है? ये काला जादू है. You do black magic. This is witchcraft. Like I've been through all of that, and even right now, there is, I mean, a lot dumb literate section of people who are oblivious, who've never met me, who don't know what I do, who've never experienced it. But like, she was doing black magic, and I'm like, no. So, I mean, this is a part and parcel of the job that's about it.
Okay, we have a lot of questions coming in, and Gupta Prerna is asking how set in stone is a karmic reading? How does free will influence the reality?
I'm going to give you very simple explanation for this. Now, let's say, for example, from your house, if you want to head towards the international airport, the destination will not change. The GPS can guide you. After 100 meters, you take a left, or after 2 kilometers, you take a right. Now, for whatever reason, out of choice of free will, if you decide to take the route straight forward, eventually the GPS will reroute you, but it will happen with a lot of difficulty. So when you're not following your karmic path and you choose otherwise, you will eventually stand up at the same point, but with a lot of delay, a lot of there'll be a lot of obstacles, and it will come with a lot of delays. So जो आपके कर्म में है वो होना है, with choice of free will that only delays or postpones the emotional baggage that you might carry in the time period and where you get there.
Okay, Saida is asking, will my baking business that I'm going to start run well? I think Saida, you should contact her and DM her because I'm sure that's how she can do a personal consultation with you. Because
Right now we're picking up very general questions about spirituality. So whatever general questions you have about spirituality, shoot them and we'll answer them for you.
okay, so there's somebody saying that he keeps getting terrible dreams. So how does one know whether this is a subconscious dream or it is a dream that should get analyzed and they should come to you and visit you to analyze the dream and know whether it's karmic connection? How can they go about analyzing their dreams?
So what happens is we all get dreams, and dreams are primarily three different levels. One is on a mind level, one is on a conscious level, one is on a subconscious level. Now, mind level is what you keep seeing a certain series, or you watch a certain movie, or something has happened, or you've spoken to someone, or you're thinking about someone, so you dream about the person. So that is on the mind level. On the conscious level, subconsciously, maybe there is a thought that needs to release or you need to work on, or even subconsciously, there could be a thought or an emotion that you need to release. You have recurring dreams and you wake up feeling very tired, very exhausted. You wake up feeling in a state of confused where you know that there is more to it. It's all about the feeling of the dream. Remember, it's never about the dream, it's the feeling with what you wake up to. So if you don't feel very heavy, very dense, very confused about the dream, that means it needs analysis. If it's a dream only on the mind or a very layered surface conscious level, you don't need to get it analyzed.
Okay, perfect. So this is something I think even I'm gonna see now when I'm dreaming. What feeling do I get up with? Okay. How to connect with your higher self?
So let's understand what higher self is. Higher self is our soul self, and it's a part of us. It's like, oh, how do we connect with, how do we work or know where our kidney is? It's all there. It's all a part of us. Now, one of the strongest ways to connect with the higher self is intuition. So, Shweta, we are all gifted with intuition. You have an intuition. I have it. We all have intuition from the time that we are born, and it's always guiding us. It's that first get. It's what we call, following your gut or following your heart. That's what an intuition is. So we all get that intuition, but our logical mind, our fears start with the ifs and buts. So
True.
whenever you get an intuition, the first message or the voice is that, it's extremely important to follow that, no matter how unknown or scary the path might be, because that is what something that will take you to your higher self. So that's the only way you can connect to your higher self. Yes, meditation and all helps you clear off energies, but eventually, I mean, you can meditate, connect to your higher self for 10 minutes, come out of it. But in your day to day life, if you're not following your GPS system, what I call intuition, the connection will be lost in no time.
Wow, I like this whole GPS system. Can you like enlighten us and give us a little detail because I know about the GPS system, but if you could tell our viewers also about it.
About what, sorry?
The whole GPS system, if you had to just explain it to them in a little thing
So
for the
I
people who
believe,
don't know.
yeah, so I believe that life is 50% of karma and 50% of choice of free will. If you're supposed to reach a point B from point A, and the GPS, your intuition, the divine angels, your spirit guides help you, and they want you or guiding you, and they tell you to do a certain thing. And for whatever reason you don't do that, घूम फिर के sooner or later you will have to come back to doing that thing. So, for example, if someone is to like I'm just giving an example. When I became a psychic at 16, I never ever thought it was a profession. I wanted to be an astronaut. You won't
Okay.
believe, Shweta, I was leaving for US for my aeronautical engineering. I got an arranged marriage proposal, and my parents got me married when I was 18, 19. And I became a normal housewife, and then I went through a divorce at 21. Now, when I got out of my marriage, I was just a fashion. I mean, I didn't know fashion designing. And then I went through the, and then I went through multiple situations in my life that got me to working on my spirituality. Because when you go through rough patches, you kind of take to
Yes.
spirituality. And at 24, I started doing this. Now, either if I would have already started doing this work at the age of 18, I would have not gone through that first marriage and divorce and the whole drama of wanting to study aeronautical engineering. So, Guru had to come back to doing this no matter how much I resisted it. Now, for whatever reason, if I had not started this work at 24, I would have continued with fashion designing, jewelry designing. I could have become something else. And then the same work I would have come back to at the age of 30 or 45. That is what I'm saying, karmic. Sometimes, if at all you have incomplete relationships with people, sooner or later, in the temporary period, out of choice of people, you can escape it, you can evade it, but you cannot cancel it. So, sooner or later, in this lifetime, in another lifetime, you will have to clear it.
So might as well make the most of your karma and learn everything with lot of love. Just accept it and go through the process is what I think I have summarized from the GPS system. Okay, so Deepak Kagla saying, ma'am, big fan, a lot of thumbs ups, a lot of love, lot of hearts have been coming. Bhargav Reddy 29 is asking, what if you wake up with a heaviness even if you have not had a dream?
So, that's again very natural. Now, that also happens for a lot of reasons, Shweta. Number one, when you're in a deep state of sleep, when you're in the delta state, which is the highest level of wave frequency, it's like you're absolutely numb. So when you wake up in the morning, it takes your body and your mind to adjust to the beta frequency that we wake up to. Because from the minute that we wake up, our life is so fast. So imagine from 180, if you slow down your car to zero, immediately jhatka.
1 minute, 1 minute. 1 minute. We are seeing you blurred and your voice is cracking.
Okay, let me
Uh,
just.
okay, people, you can have your questions coming in, and thank you for the lovely questions we've been asking her. Uh, yeah, I know Sony.pal video is scrambling, so we're just trying. Okay, there we have Tamanna back. Okay.
So to answer your question, saying that all of a sudden from a 180 kilometers per hour car, we bring the speed down to zero. वो engine गर्म होता है. The car gets exhausted. Similarly, when we go into that deep delta state and we wake up in the morning, we carry that heaviness. That's one
Hmm.
of the reasons. Another reason is also when we are sleeping, our sleep state is the best way of healing. So we do not really know consciously, subconsciously, we are healing a lot of energies from our subconscious mind or our psyche. So whatever energies that is bothering us, whatever stress that's bothering us, is getting healed during that process. So when you wake up in the morning, your body feels very dense because your body is releasing a lot of negativity. So whenever you wake up feeling tired or exhausted or heavy, I always say just jump for a salt water bath and it will just refresh your energy.
Okay, since we're speaking about salt water bath, and salt is a energizer and a cleanser. So why is salt an energizer and cleanser? Because this is a question a lot of people ask me, rock salt bath and keeping rock salt around the houses, especially during eclipse and all of it. So what's about the salt?
So the reason why this is important is because salt is one of the most purest, or rather is the most purest element found on earth. Because salt is made up of all the elements. It's made up of the earth, it's made up of the sun energy, which is fire. It's made up of water and it's made up of air. If one of them is missing, the salt formation does not happen, Shweta. So salt is actually the only mineral, the primary mineral that is made out of all the four elements. That's why it's so strong because it holds it holds the potency of all these four elements.
Wow, like suddenly we have science attached to why we are doing it because we all know it.
Yeah, but also, the New Age spirituality, which I thoroughly practice, follow, preach, is all about an extension of science. Like, I don't work on the whole religion and philosophy zone. I work on practical and what is scientific in nature.
A lot of people put spirituality and they combine it with religion. Though
Mm-hmm.
spirituality is very different and religion is very different, but a lot of people have combined it. So, what is spirituality for you?
So, had you asked this question to me a month, 2 months ago, I would have given you a long, description. But I defined it in a quote of mine which says that religion is all about worshipping the ideal, and spirituality is all about practicing what the ideals are preached and live for. So, spirituality is all about learning your lesson, going inward. With religion, we go outward. So in religion, we have to kind of respect, the holy book, or we have to respect people, temples, idol worship. In spirituality, it starts from respecting yourself first. So that's the difference.
Okay, on this, we have Vivek is asking us, how do you get to the level of spirituality where you attain peace? Nice question, Vivek. We shall get back to you on it.
Where you're at peace, is it?
Yeah.
So you have to just reach that level of acceptance, of accepting everything that affects you. And once you start accepting everything that affects you, that's when you actually find true peace. And that's what you need to work on. You just need to live with the flow without allowing your body, mind, emotions to create obstructions in whatever in wherever direction life is going for you.
how difficult it is. Like you have so many people coming to you, with their problems, and you give them solutions or you guide them how to go about. How difficult is it usually for people to accept? They come with a heart, they want a solution, but when you come up with something, you must have seen them either being rigid about, oh, this is not, what you're saying, and this is not kind of a thing. So, like, if I have to say your analysis of acceptance when it comes to people, what would that be?
So, I would like to believe that, Shweta, when God has given you a gift, God also gives you an additional gift so that you can combine both of them. Now, I have this ability where I can pick up and communicate in a language that people will understand. So, when I have someone who's of a very logical mind, I will talk to them in that language to make them understand it. Because I don't give solutions, I give a shift in
We
perception.
can't hear. We are paused due
Can you
to
hear
poor
me?
connection.
Can you hear me? Let me rejoin.
No. Okay, people, sorry for the next problem that happens. Trust me, nothing on purpose, but we are having Tamanna again soon, so she's going to restart and come back, and there she's already. So, one second, let's send her a request.
Sorry.
वेलकम बैक. सो लॉट ऑफ पीपल थिंक मैं सिंधी हूँ और मैं बीच बीच में ये नेट खराब करती हूँ ताकि मैं ऐड बेच सकूं. So every time the person leaves, I have messages coming, are you going to do the commercial? I'm like, no, it's just a net issue.
No, so coming back to my question, what I offer through my readings and my analysis, Shweta, is a shift in perception. And I tell people that right now you're looking at things from a A perspective. Try looking at things from a B perspective, C perspective, or D perspective, whatever you're convenient with. And then we start seeing necessary changes. So at least when they start operating from a different space of perception, they kind of melt away their rigidity and आधा ही काम उसमें healing हो जाती है because they're
हो
looking at
जाता
things
है.
from a perspective. So that's what I do. I will never tell people do this puja, wear this ring, ye havan karo, because by doing all of that you can't learn your lessons and change your karmas.
True. So, like you said, acceptance and perception is really important, especially if you want to grow in life and move on from the problem if there is one, and also to live a happy life. Like those two things are important. Happy in the Hills too is asking us, how do you link clairvoyance and being psychic to science?
So again, clairvoyance is basically a gift. Energy is always around. Like today, we can't see electricity, but electricity is flowing. When you're sitting by the seashore, you can't see the currents, but you can feel it. It's always flowing. So there is science or there is energy without what your human eyes can also see. So as a psychic, I have the ability to pick up that energy, and energy is a part of science. So that's how both of them are equally connected. It's just a different form of energy that normal naked eyes cannot see.
What is meditation for you?
Meditation for me is a way of mediating between the universe, the divine, God, whatever you want to call it, and your inner soul. That is what meditation for me is. If you're talking about practicality, meditation is basically sitting in a state of silence and just emptying yourself out. In your day-to-day life, Shweta, we're constantly picking up energies, thinking thousands thoughts, feeling thousands emotions a day. So when you meditate, it's a way of just allowing those energies to come to surface and allowing it to release from your energy field without adding a meaning or without judging it. We keep adding a lot of meanings and we keep judging our own emotions and our own judgments.
True.
And that's training in itself. So meditating is just allowing it to flow like a movie so that you're completely empty from inside.
Like it is important for physical cleanliness, bathing, and taking care of ourselves, manicure, pedicure. How important it is emotional cleansing is in our day-to-day life.
it is extremely important because what happens is something that lingers on. I'll give you an example. If you've not had a bath for 5 days, not had a bath for 8 days, the entire surrounding starts smelling after a point. You know, whether you're sitting at home, whether you go to the office, whether you're at a friend's house, you feel that stench. Similarly, when you're holding on to a lot of emotional baggage which is not cleansed, you start carrying this baggage into all areas of your life, be it work, be it your relationship with your partner, family, friends, etc. So, and we are what we attract. So, whatever that
Absolutely.
you, if you're holding on to a lot of emotional baggage, anger, pain, guilt, you will attract those kind of people who will validate that for you. So then it's just like a snowball effect. So emotional clearing, emotional cleansing is very important so that you keep your vibrations, you keep your energy field a lot higher and clearer. So you can attract energies which are a lot higher and clearer for you.
My Mishesh Bakrela is asking, what should be a everyday morning meditation be like?
So, firstly, when we wake up, in like I started at one point, I did Shweta, that when we sleep, we are constantly reviving and refreshing our energy. So, when you wake up in the morning, you're automatically at a very high energy frequency than what you slept last night. What is important is to sustain that frequency. So, I believe in three things. One is a lot of silence in the morning. So, first half an hour, 1 hour in the morning when you wake up, no phone, keep your conversations with people minimal, even if you're with family members. Wake up early, go sit in the other room, enjoy a cup of tea, listen to some mantra, sloka. Even music plays a very important role. Either listening to the Gayatri Mantra, Hanuman Chalisa, or the Om Namah Shivaya chant, it helps you lift and protect your energy field. So even music really helps to kind of protect and uplift your energetic field and salt water.
Okay. I think I'm going to use a lot of salt now for my cleansing because suddenly I have a science behind it and suddenly it all just falls into place. Okay. So happy underscore in underscore hills too is asking, meditation has a lot of forms, but how do I start on my own? Like, what could the beginning be like?
It's like I said, just being in a state of flow. There is so much of, there's so many different kinds of meditations out there. And of course, it looks very complex, but you have to keep it very simple. And every time you sit to meditate, you need to set an intent that why are you meditating for? Are you meditating to kind of feel refreshed? Are you meditating to heal an anger that you're feeling towards someone? Are you meditating to your inner voice? Are you meditating so you can sleep better? Are you meditating so you can have a better focus at work? So the intention of why you want to meditate is very important because then when you sit to meditate, you're flowing your energies towards that intention.
Okay, so before you take the action of meditation, have your intention very clear and start your day with a meditation is all how I can sum up what this beautiful lady has told us right now. And Tamanna, we had another question. Is it right to say that astrological remedies or any remedies are not significant if certain karma needs to be completed?
Absolutely. If you have to go through something like a lot of people ask me, Uttamana, you went through a divorce, couldn't you see it? I'm like, it was karmic. So even if I went to an astrologer, what time pay, he'll be like, yeah, 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 it's all good. But after the marriage, it's over, he's like, no, this is bad. So sometimes you have to, kind of navigate and go through your karmas without any kind of help from these astrology and, sciences. You cannot change your karma. So,
I totally agree on that. That जो karmic है, वो तो करना ही है.
yeah.
So, and we've seen that, when somebody says, no, no, this is good for you, and then, automatically the person's like, no, but, there was a slight thing which I thought you would surpass, and then there are 10 excuses, like you just said. So,
And also, Shweta, when we talk about any situation, be it a situation at work, be it a situation of court case litigation, be it a situation with a family member, be it a situation about love, there is also the other person involved. Today, you may have your karma and your choice that you want to make the marriage, relationship, or the situation work. But if the other person chooses not to make it work, you'll be stuck because of the other person. So extremely important to keep in mind not only your choice of free will, but also free will of the other person.
Um, okay, Dr. Ankesh says lovely live session. Lots of hearts flowing in for you, Tamanna. Manu underscore daddy's girl is asking, how do you do white light meditation?
So white light meditation is again about the intent and what you really need to kind of clear in the white light. So it basically starts with covering yourself or visualizing that you're being covered in white light. It could be in form of an eggshell, so you can close your eyes and visualize that you're placed inside a bright white eggshell. Or it could just be your aura being protected in white light, like a rainbow structure completely covering you. So that's what white light meditation is.
Colors play a very important role, and in meditation, how important, like besides white light, what is color meditation all about?
So the colors play a very important role, Shweta, because of the seven chakras in the body. The lower chakras are basically red, yellow, and orange, which is the more dense chakras. Whenever we're working with, meditation with color meditation, it's important to focus on the higher vibration chakras, which is your heart, which is green color, your throat, which is dark blue, your light blue, which is your third eye chakra, and violet, which is your crown chakra. So apart from white light, you can work on light pink because pink is the color of love and compassion. Green, dark blue, light blue, violet. So these are the significance that we work or we connect with the chakras of higher frequency.
Um, okay. So most of my dreams come true, the one I see while sleeping, and sometimes it makes me happy and blessed. Sometimes it gets weird. I wonder, like, how is it possible? How come it happens with me? So
So
if you
that
could.
whenever you're dreaming about the future and that does come true, it means that in your sleep, your guides, your angels are trying to connect with you and prepare you or give you signs and signals about the future. So there are some dreams that also come up as a future vision to prepare you how to handle it in a better way.
The eclipse just happened, and you had also predicted it way before, and you also gave us tips on how to go about. And so, what are the effect? What were the effects that happened during the eclipse that have gone? What are the effects that we are still facing, and we're going to face for a while?
So on 26th of December 2019, there was a massive eclipse, and at that point, it was not really made a big deal out of it, but astrologically and as psychic, we knew what was coming. Of course, we can only sense problems. We can't really sense what exactly is going to go wrong. So that's when the entire virus situation came to surface. Now, Shweta, this is also the same eclipse. The energy of the eclipse is also the same when 9/11 attack happened. Now, if you go to see what happened during 9/11, it was global fear. It was,
Yeah.
of course, based on terrorism. But be it the financial market, be it jobs, be it borders being shut down, be it everyone was in a state of panic. Those 6 to 7 months was absolute world shutdown. Now it's the same eclipse that's come around last year, but with a different symptom or a different side effect in form of a health or pandemic. So the side effects are all the same as to what happened during 9/11. And this eclipse, I mean, the effect of that eclipse stays for 6 months. So that
Okay.
change is the eclipse that's coming up between 21st of June, which is just on the corner. So after 21st of June 2020, things should start getting a lot easier. And according to my prediction, by August, there will be some remedy or there will be some control of this entire pandemic. Fingers crossed.
What do you teach or consult? Are some of the viewers asking us?
Okay, so what I do, the consultation that I do is, karmic chart reading, which is predictions about your present and future. I also do auto writing. Auto writing is a process where I connect you to your deceased loved ones. And I also do past life healing. So these are the three different sessions that I do. And in terms of teaching, there are different workshops that I offer, which is available on my website, tamanasi.com.
Okay, so people, y'all can DM her, go on her website, know what following courses are coming, and do learn to fish and make the most out of yourself by learning all these lessons because it is an important part of life. Ayush is asking how much timing does have importance in our karmic lesson.
Timing plays a very important role, but timing also goes hand in hand with karmic lessons. Because if at all you don't learn your lessons, you will keep attracting the same time period again and again and again in your life. So they actually go hand in hand, and one can really pinpoint whether the time is bad or you're in the situation because you're not learning your karmic lessons. So it's very individual, but timing and your lessons go completely hand in hand.
Okay, so somebody is asking us, but if karmic has to happen, then why do we need to know?
So when karma has to happen, you need to know so that you can deal with things in a better way. And once the karma is over, rather than you living with a lot of pain, anger, bitter, like a lot of bitterness, you are taking self accountability that okay, I was meant to go through this rather than blaming it on external situations, people.
Is this true? What is internal is external?
It is. It is.
Okay, so if say, like you said, that the DNA, the belief systems, and all also make a person the way the person is. So how can one sort that internal, like if say, for example, obviously you'll be having courses on it, but if generally one realizes this is a particular belief, so how can
Mhm.
that person change his or her belief for a particular situation?
So you cannot change your negative belief system. You can only replace it or balance it with a positive affirmation belief system. So whenever you're working on changing a belief system, Shraddha, it's important that you come up. Suppose if you're working on anger and you have anger issues, you can't focus on I don't want to get angry. You have to focus on the positive affirmation, the positive habit, which is okay, I need to be more patient, I need to be more tolerant, I need to be more patient. When you start balancing and making the act of patience and tolerance your strength, automatically anger will no longer exist in that energy state.
Namami, we are not ignoring you. I'm trying to cover most of the questions, but if we are not able to cover, let me tell you, this is just one of our first lives. You'll be having a lot of more lives with Tamanna C because obviously she has vast knowledge of spirituality, and I'm trying my best to at least touch a few topics. But हमारे लिए 40 minutes बहुत कम है. She's been learning and practicing this for a very long time. Okay, what is a perfect day for you like?
My perfect day is a lot of silence in the morning. So I live by myself, so I'm surrounded with silence, but I do a lot of work through the day in terms of my personal sessions, personal consultation. When I'm not working and when I'm not, of course, socializing, I'm writing a lot. I'm working on my second book. I'm launching my deck of oracle cards, and then I just kind of do my meditation yoga, and then a lot of Netflix.
Your first book, Everyone is Loved. If you could tell our viewers who've not read about the first book, so if you could just tell them the title and a little about the book.
So this is the first book. It's called The Way Ahead. So it's basically it was written about 6, 7 years ago. I was still very young. I must have been 28 when I wrote it. So it's basically a compilation of my favorite quotes compiled together. Because I mean, you've seen the work I do. I do a lot of simple quotes and just few lines. So every page, every chapter has got a quote, and it's just like a magic book. You know, whenever you're going through some difficulty or question in your mind, some clarity that you want, the universe kind of talks to you through this book. So that's what the book is about.
And what is the other book that you're working on? Because, a lot of people are asking, and when can they expect it?
So the second book is should be expected by September, October this year. Fingers crossed. It's already in the editing and printing phase. It's called the vertical path, and it's about the karmic lessons you need to learn in order to grow closer to your soul path. We always have the vertical and the horizontal path. So this is all about the basic karmic lessons that you need to learn on, and this book will also have a sweet sequel because you can't cover all the lessons in just one book. So
Absolutely. Okay. How does a person with special needs get into spirituality to clear his or her karma?
So again, it all spirituality starts by connecting with yourself and following your intuition and by focusing on that. Absolutely okay to seek help from professionals. Even when I got into spirituality, I was very young, Shweta. I was just 9. So I had a guru who kind of guided me, you know. So it's absolutely okay to seek external guidance. You're not alone on your journey. And it all starts from working on yourself.
How important it is, like I'm sure even today you're working on yourself while you're teaching others to work on themselves. So is this a constant process?
Constant processing. You never stop learning. Like, it's suppose I've learned the lesson of say forgiveness or letting go 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Even today, some people might be teaching me forgiveness or letting go on a much deeper level than what I learned 5, 6 years ago. It's layer by layer, constant evolution.
What is the best time to meditate and for how long? Girish is asking.
So the best time to meditate is basically after you wake up and before you sleep. And the time really depends. You know, there are days where I'll meditate for 15 minutes. There'll be days I just want to meditate for 5, 7 minutes. Or there'll be days I'll just be sitting in half an hour of meditation. So it really depends on how much baggage on that particular day you need to cleanse.
Is your old book, the first book, available on Amazon, and is there a Kindle version? Because somebody's asking about the book.
So we've almost sold off the third edition, and the fourth edition is gone for printing. But unfortunately, because of this lockdown, the printing press is shut down. So as soon as we start the printing, it will be available on Amazon soon.
Okay, so we know we just have to wait for a little more while and then we will have the fourth edition coming out. So then as it's out, you all can buy it and get it all sold out. Because
Yes,
there were a lot of people asking us suddenly about the book, and even I'm waiting to read the book. So once I get it, I'm gonna tell you all too how I'm loving the book. Okay, Samana, what's your favorite quote?
I have my one of my favorite quotes is "Don't unlove yourself because of other people's mistake." You know, we keep going through this process of self-love and self-respect and self-honor, and when people don't or mistake the mistakes that they make in their life or the choices that they make, we'll end up giving that much more importance, and we'll end up going back into the pattern of unloving ourselves. So I would say that's a constant reminder for all of us.
What is your life motto?
Keep it simple. That's about it. It's all simple. I think we like flexing it.
Five things that usually you think that gets into the way of happiness.
Number one is the need for control. Number two is your own and issues about repeating itself. Number three is your worry and insecurity about the future. Number four is not being comfortable with your own self. You know, people take um, alone as loneliness as a punishment, which is absolutely wrong. It's very important to be comfortable with yourself if you want to be happy. And number five, tapping into your creative energies. I think I mean, for those who are creative, know actually what this is all about. It's all about creativity and creating. And if you don't work on your creative energies, how can you create happiness? Happiness is never given to you, it's created. So it all really depends on you from your space of creation.
If you could change one thing about the world, that what would it be?
I would say compassion. I wish people had more ability to be a lot more compassionate.
Um, I want to learn how to dash.
I want to learn how to learn Spanish. I want to learn how to speak Spanish.
You are not gonna believe I'm doing that in quarantine, and because I always wanted to learn a foreign language, so I just downloaded this app, and my friend Vivek and I we started learning Spanish. So we are giving you company. Come join us and learn Spanish.
We'll connect. Send me the link.
Yes, done. So welcome to our Spanish group that we are learning. Okay, what are you most proud of?
I think the way I wear my wounds and my mistakes and my safe.
You know, there's a famous quote saying that carry your marks. You know, every leopard carries the marks. And what you said is exactly what you're saying. So, how important it is to accept that you have made a mistake and learn from it and move on.
It's extremely important. That's what evolution is. And even sometimes it may not necessarily be a mistake, but it can also be a mistake in the way you handle things and handle yourself. So we are not perfect. It's extremely important to kind of understand or give up the need to be perfect. This entire giving up the need to be perfect is like a energy drainer by, you know.
Okay, your biggest fear and how do you face it?
I think my biggest fear is not living up to expectations. And I face it by constantly telling the universe that you put me in this place, now you carry me forward. I think that's what my fear is.
Wow, I think that's brilliant because you know, when you surrender, nothing better than surrendering and moving on.
Absolutely.
How do you define your world, a spiritual world, and the material world together? How do you maintain the balance and define it?
So I enjoy everything. I enjoy spirituality as much. I would love to go shopping, traveling, or chilling with friends, but I don't get attached to it. So neither I get to attach to spirituality nor I get to attach to it. It doesn't define who I am. I do what gives me happiness in that moment. If I've had two dreams and I've wanted to go home and just meditate, and if that's going to make me happy, I will still do it. There's no structure to it.
Okay, now we're gonna play a quick this and that. Books or documentaries?
Books.
Favorite book besides the book you've written?
Um, I love Osho, this book by Osho called Buddha.
Favorite quote of Osho?
Meditation is the point of when you're neither contemplating or concentrating.
One day at a time or one moment at a time?
One moment at a time.
Facing it or delaying it?
Keep on
Um,
moving.
okay, eclipse have to come, but would you prefer a solar or a lunar?
Solar. The moon is crazy. Lunar is crazy. Hmm. Moon is a better
Music?
than anything. So it is crazy.
Yeah, that's why all moon children are a little.
Yeah.
So, music or silence?
Music.
Day or night?
Night.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Group meditation or single solo meditation?
Group meditation.
White light or chakra?
White light.
Okay, we had an amazing this or that with you.
Oh, very, very interesting.
So, Tamanna, thank you so much for joining us live and sharing a few of your beautiful spiritual lessons in our Spiritual 101. But we have a lot that we still want to ask you, but we are
This is
bound
my
by
last.
time.
Yeah.
Yes, so we are definitely going to hound you again for another live session very soon. And thank you for giving us your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike. Take care.
Bye. Have a good day.